This is Gjirokaster, a city carved from the slopes of the Drino Valley in southern Albania, a place where time moves slowly, and the air itself seems heavy with memory. They call it the City of Stone, and rightly so. Here, houses grow from the rock, streets cling to the hillsides, and the mountain itself seems alive, breathing through every stairway and courtyard. The sound of footsteps echoes down the narrow lanes. A metal door creaks open. Somewhere, water runs softly through an ancient channel, flowing beneath the cobbles, reminding you that this city has always lived with the rhythm of nature. The scent of wood smoke and mountain herbs drifts through the alleys. Cats watch from sunlit windows. And in the distance, the shadow of the great fortress stretches across the rooftops. The old bazaar has been the heart of the city since the 17th century. Its stone-paved lanes form a natural amphitheater filled with workshops, cafes, and small shops selling copperware, textiles, and handmade rugs. In Ottoman times, caravans arrived here from Ioannina, Thessaloniki, and Istanbul, trading silks, leather, and spices. Today, you still hear the ring of a blacksmith's hammer and the murmur of traders offering coffee and stories. It is a living museum, not frozen but breathing. If you like this type of content and you want to support this channel, please make sure to share and subscribe to be able to see more. This land has always provided water from its streams, stone from its quarries, and shelter from its cliffs. Even the city's name, Gjirokastër, comes from the Greek archaeology, meaning silver fortress, inspired by the glimmer of its roofs in the sun. As you descend from the castle, you enter a labyrinth of streets where history lives in every turn. The houses here are unlike any others in Europe. They are fortress homes, kullet, designed for defense and dignity alike. Thick stone walls form the lower levels, while upper floors open into light-filled rooms with carved ceilings and wide wooden balconies. Each home was its own world, with space for family, servants, storage, and hospitality. As you climb upward, the air begins to change. The damp concrete gives way to rough, ancient stone, and you emerge into one of the great fortresses of the Balkans, the castle of Gjirokaster. Its walls stretch more than 500 meters along the ridge, thick, massive, unyielding. It has watched over the Drino Valley for nearly 1,000 years, its foundations rooted in legend and its battlements scarred by time. At the center of the fortress lies an open courtyard filled with relics of war, silent witnesses to centuries of conflict. Rows of cannons stand here, their bronze and iron barrels pointed outward toward the horizon. Most of them date from the 19th and early 20th centuries, relics left behind by Italian, German, and Ottoman forces. Each cannon tells a fragment of the story. Some were captured from invading armies. Others were placed here by Albanian defenders. They have fired in anger and stood in peace, their barrels now rusted, their purpose long gone. Among them rests something unexpected, the broken body of a small aircraft. A United States Air Force Lockheed T-33 jet trainer, forced to land near Tirana in 1957, at the height of the Cold War. The Albanian government declared it a symbol of imperial aggression and displayed it here, high on the castle's platform, as a trophy of defiance. Today, its frame sits under a roof of steel beams, its wings faded, its cockpit shattered, a silent reminder of the paranoia and isolation of the communist era. Not far from the cannons stand the remains of Italian Fiat L-335 tankettes, relics from the 1930s. Small riveted armored vehicles, almost toy-like by modern standards, yet deadly in their day. They too were captured, reminders of Italy's invasion in 1939 and of the turbulent years that followed. Walking through the fortress is like walking through a timeline of power. Every stone speaks a different language, Byzantine, Ottoman, Albanian. Its earliest structures date to the 12th century, when it was little more than a fortified outpost, perhaps on the ruins of an even older Illyrian hill fort. Archaeologists have found fragments of walls and pottery that suggest human presence here long before recorded history. By the 15th century, the Ottomans had expanded the castle into a military stronghold. It became the seat of local pashas, regional rulers who governed the Drino Valley and the surrounding mountains. The most famous of them was Ali Pasha of Tepelina, the Lion of Ioannina, whose power stretched from the Ionian Sea to northern Greece. Ali Pasha strengthened Gjirokastër Castle in the early 19th century, adding towers, armories, and water cisterns. He understood the value of stone and height, that whoever held this fortress controlled the valley below. Under Ottoman rule, the fortress also became a symbol of prestige. Ceremonies, parades, and judgments were held within its walls. Its garrison defended trade routes and kept watch over the southern passes toward Greece. But with empire came decline. By the early 20th century, as Albania fought for independence, the castle's cannons were silent, its walls crumbling, its prisoners growing. In 1932, King Zog converted part of the fortress into a prison, one that would later expand under the communists. These cells, dark and narrow, became a place of fear. Political dissidents, intellectuals, priests, and rebels were all confined here. Some for months, others for years, some never to leave. You can still walk through those corridors today. Rusty iron doors with tiny peepholes. Stone walls scratched with names and dates. A single narrow slit for light. The silence is heavy, the kind of silence that feels alive. It carries the memory of voices that once filled these rooms with despair and defiance. In the 1940s, when the Italians occupied Albania, they too used the fortress for prisoners. After the war, it became one of the most notorious prisons of the communist period, operating until 1968. And in that same year, something remarkable happened, something that changed the fortress's story forever. In 1968, the castle of Gjirokaster opened its gates not for soldiers or prisoners, but for artists. The first national folk festival was held here, a grand celebration of Albania's cultural soul. For the first time, this ancient stronghold of power and pain became a stage for music, dance, and color. Performers from every region, from the mountains of the north to the coast of the south, gathered under its open sky. Traditional songs echoed through the fortress, costumes shimmered in the light. It was a moment when the people reclaimed their heritage, turning a symbol of control into one of pride and unity. Since then, every 5 years, the National Folk Festival has returned to Gjirokastër Castle. Generations have danced and sung where soldiers once stood guard. The fortress became not only a monument of stone, but of spirit. And above it all, the view remains unchanged. From the castle's highest terrace, the Drino Valley unfolds like a painting, a vast landscape of green fields, olive groves, and winding streams that shimmer in the sunlight. To the east rise the Gjirokastër Mountains, their peaks often capped with snow. To the west, the rooftops of Gjirokastër cascade down the hillside, layers of slate and shadow, each roof reflecting centuries of life below. The wind up here carries both warmth and echo. You can hear the faint sound of bells from distant villages, the laughter from the bazaar below, and the whispers of stories too old to trace. Every stone in this fortress has felt the passage of kings, soldiers, prisoners, and poets. It has survived earthquakes, invasions, and revolutions. It has seen Albania rise, fall, and rise again. And through it all, it endures massive, immovable, patient. Gjirokastër Castle is not merely a monument. It is a mirror, reflecting the struggles, fears, and triumphs of a nation. Its tunnels remind us of secrecy and survival. Its cannons and tanks speak of war and defense. Its plain of isolation and ideology. Its festival of rebirth. And its views of peace at last. Standing here as the sun sets behind the mountains, the castle turns to silver, the same hue that gave Gjirokaster its ancient name, the Silver Fortress. The light fades, the wind stills. And for a brief moment, you can almost hear the centuries breathe. This is the castle of Gjirokaster. Built by men, shaped by time and kept alive by memory. The fortress endures, not as a ruin, but as a heartbeat of Albania itself. Thanks for watching, and please make sure to like and subscribe.